This is Monday Morning Meditations number 267 on the Rising Man podcast with Jeddy Azuma. Discovery is always the most impactful when a man can make it for himself. What's up, y'all? Happy Monday morning. Jeddy Azuma here with another episode of our Monday Morning Meditations. I'm so glad that you chose to join me, to be here, and to receive this wisdom on a Monday morning with me here today. So, without further ado, today's topic is the balance between information and advice. So one of the things that I've learned from being on a men's team for the past 10 years is that if I'm told what I'm missing, or somebody tells me what I should do in my life, it's never as powerful as when I make that decision for myself. Now, as a young man joining a very seasoned team of veterans and men who are twice my age, it was very tempting to want these guys to just tell me what they were seeing and show me the way. I had all the enthusiasm in the world, all the energy to take action on what I needed to do, but I just couldn't see it for myself. And there's that temptation that we all have, that we want someone to just show us the way. I'm happy to do the work, but just show me the way. Just tell me what to do. But until I realized that the power was in the discovery and the decision making for myself, I wasn't really ready to step into that wholeheartedly. And there's a method that we practice here in the Rising Man community called the Socratic method. It's a method of inquiry and curiosity, that instead of giving advice or giving specific suggestions for what someone should do, it's a way of asking questions, or in our terminology, interviewing a man, so that he can make discovery and insights for himself. There's a way of asking questions that can help me to see what everyone else is seeing. And when I'm sitting in a circle with 8 other men who are all looking back at me, asking the same questions that are pointing at the same thing, I'm much more likely to trust what I'm hearing from them. But if those guys were just to stand me up and say, Jeddy, this is what you need to do in your life. This is where you're screwing up in your marriage. This is where you're failing in your business. This is the next thing that you need to do to be successful, blah, 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 blah. It's not going to set me up to solve my next problem. And this is one of the things that we hold in all of the work that we do here in the Rising Man community, is that we're not just giving a man a fish, we're teaching a man to fish, right? To use that old biblical reference. We're not just giving a man the solution to this one problem. We're educating and training men to come up with solutions to all of their future problems. And that's why this method of inquiry, the Socratic method, is so valuable. And it's a legitimate skill set. It's a tool that needs to be honed and crafted. That's why we practice it inside of our fire circles. We practice it inside of the brotherhood community on the calls that the men are leading now, because we know that teaching a man how to look at himself more honestly and how to bring more inquiry and curiosity into his own life and his own experience is the way to set him up for future challenges and breakdowns in his life. Because the reality is that we're not going to be there for every moment, every breakdown that man has. Yes, I can pick up the phone. Yes, I can check into one of my men's meetings and get some support. But ultimately, there's decisions and breakdowns that happen on a daily basis, and I can't be constantly picking up the phone asking men what I should do. This is where we challenge each other to grow. This is how we prepare each other for life. This is what fathering men looks like. This is what fathering boys looks like. You don't just kiss all the boo-boos and solve all the problems. You teach them how to think critically, how to see the solution for themselves, how to arrive at that solution. Because the other thing is, I might have an idea of what would be helpful for somebody, but they might come up with a solution that's even better, even simpler, even more congruent with who they are than I could have come up with. But if I just give advice, if I just give a suggestion that doesn't empower that man to arrive at that potentially better solution. And there's many times where I've seen a man just roil in his frustration because he just can't see what the rest of the men are seeing. And these are some of the best interviews, because anytime we can pin somebody down and help them see that they are completely blind and clueless as to how to reconcile this problem for themselves, that's an area and an opportunity for some big work. So there's a very clear difference between advice and information. Information can be given to somebody and they decide what they get to do with that. I can share a reflection. I can ask a question that helps somebody to see a perspective that they might not have had before, but that's the extent of what I can do. I can't demand a man do anything in his life. I can't tell him what he should do or require him to do something on behalf of himself. That's where the work is put back on the man for him to decide. Advice, that puts me on the hook. That makes it so that I am also tethered to the outcome of this man's decision making. If I tell you that you should break up with your girlfriend because she's no good for you, then I am partially responsible for the outcome of that decision. How do I know if that's the best thing for you? Even if I believe that that's the best thing for you to do, wouldn't it be more powerful for you to decide that for yourself? For you to be the one who's accountable to that decision? I can ask a question and say, hey, it seems like you and your girlfriend are arguing all the time. It seems like you guys have completely different values when it comes to what you want long term. Is that true? Do you think that that's true? What's keeping you in this relationship with this person? Is it the possibility of a bigger future that's aligned and congruent? Can you actually see that? When you're being really honest with yourself, can you actually see that future? You notice that everything I said there ended in a question mark. When it ends in a question mark, there is no declarative statement. Is that true? Is it a possibility? What do you think? What's the truth for you? So when a man's given the opportunity to decide for himself and make his own discovery, it empowers him to make a decision, deal with the consequences on his own terms, and get the full value of that experience and that lesson. Sometimes those interviews lead men to make decisions that blow up in their face. But they made that decision from the insights and the discovery that they could see, that they believe to be true. And then they can come back and debrief and retool and get ready for next time, for the next decision. Remember, that's all a part of it. So this Socratic method of asking questions and holding up what we call the mirror to another man is incredibly valuable. And it's something that we practice here in the Rising Man community. So if something that you would like to, number one, experience for yourself, to get that reflection from other men who don't have any agenda around what you do, who have no skin in the game of what the outcome is for you, can just ask questions from the most honest place, then come join us. Mark Rose is leading our Socratic Method calls every single Monday. So you can go and check those out. Come join and be a part of the Brotherhood community and have access to all those free calls. If you want to be a bigger part of the community where we practice this all the time and jumping into our Fire Circle communities, then stay tuned because we're going to have a lot of announcements coming up in the very near future around how to get involved and participate in the Fire Circle community and be a part of a real men's team where we practice interview skills, where we practice the Socratic Method, and we help men become empowered to solve the next problems in their lives, not just the one that they're facing today. So I hope that this information landed well for you, give you an insight into some of the practices that we have in the Rising Man community. And if you're interested in joining us, then go over to risingman.org. Come check out what we got going on. Jump into the Brotherhood space and get connected with the other men who have been practicing these things for a long time. And if you know somebody who also would benefit from hearing this message, who could benefit from understanding what the Socratic Method is and how it works, then please share that up with your community. As always, thank you guys for supporting us in everything that we do, helping us to carry this mission forward. Until next time, rise up and claim your destiny.